Hello, it's Deborah from the attic, and today we're going to be looking at some Arteza products. I'm going to show you these Real Brush pens. They're a water-based ink and they're blendable, and there are, as it says, there are 48 colours. It also includes a water brush pen. We're going to look at these mixed media pads. Now, I've actually taken the packaging off because it shines quite a lot under the lighting, but there are three really thick papered pads in this. Let me show you how thick these are. These are a great size for travelling. If you want to have a book on the go when you're on holiday, or if you want to take something with you to record thoughts, ideas, or make some colour notes or anything like that, these are really good. They're an A5 size. They're a very thick paper. They're £110 or 180 grams per square metre. And there are 60 sheets. One side is textured. It's very difficult to show you. Try it with some sound. And the other side is smoother. I don't know if the sound helps at all. The other thing that's nice about these books is not only that they will flip open, so that if you're working on a page and you want it to lie, sometimes your hand can be too high if you're working on a full deck of paper like that. So it's good to know that you can open these right out and work on them really flat. The pages will obviously turn all the way back because it's got this nice big fat ring binding mechanism to hold all the pages together. But the other thing, and I hope you can see this, is that there are perforations down the inside of the ring binders. So if you want to remove a page and you want a nice neat edge rather than a jagged holy edge, you can just rip down the perforations and then you have a nice sheet. These are described as being ideal for wet and dry media, and this is where the pens come in. This is how I'm going to test these books and just see how these pens perform on this paper. The pens themselves come in this really nice big thick box. It's going to be a really useful container to keep them in, and on the back it has each of the colours that you get in the 48 pen set. These come in 12, 24 and I think 96 size sets. There are 4 trays inside this particular size of 48, and there is a water pen at the top. I'm going to slide these out and show you all 4 trays. There's a good range of colours in the 48 set, and I want to show you in detail the brushes because these have been very well thought out, these pens. The first thing is that these have got a nice weight to them. They don't feel so light that you think there's nothing to them, and I quite like that. They're about the same weight as maybe a normal pencil. The cap has got a really useful little sort of clip holder here, and this is great because when you put them down they're not going to roll around on your mat. They also have, maybe you can see them, maybe you can hear them, ridges just on the bottom of the cap there as well, and that makes it nice and easy to grip to remove the cap. At the bottom of each brush it has the colour name. This one is Sapphire Blue, and it also has the Arteza code number for them, so this is A131, and on the end of the cap it has the colour that is Sapphire Blue, so that when you look at all of your pens together you'll be able to see the difference in the ends on the caps. I want to show you the brush. It's a very fine, very pointed, real brush. That's how fine the line can be. Very, very thin. Or you can have it very, very wide. The other thing I've noticed, because I've already been playing with these pens, is that the colour is pretty solid. Now I'm just rubbing this on a piece of scrappy little paper that I just got out because I wanted to show you the nib of the brush. But the colour goes on solidly, so it's not patchy. With some pens, when you colour an area in, you can see different strengths of colour or different depths of colour. When these dry, they actually dry with a decent solid colour. To get myself started, I want to colour swatch these, so I've drawn out in one of the mixed media paper pads a grid, and I'm going to be colouring in each of these grids with each of the pens. What I've done is, rather than go through each pen on the back, when I've been writing the names are all here. So I've taken the names from here, I've put them at the top of my little boxes. The boxes have been drawn using a water and fade proof pigment ink. This is a Unipin fine line pen and it's 0.1. And I've also, in each box, I've added a thin black line. I'm going to take the colour of each pen over that little black line, and that will show me what the opacity or the transparency is like. As well as using the brushes to swatch out my colours, I'm also going to use the water brush. I've put some water in here, I've had a little play around with it already. It's got a nice firm cover on the top that goes on and feels really solid on there, so I'm not worried that water is going to leak out if I'm carrying this in a bag, for example. And it's got a nice wide area for you to hold it. It feels very comfortable in your hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little patch of wet here, and so I'm going to put some water on the right hand side of each box, and then I'm going to use my pen to colour in and then try and fade it into the water and see what effects I get. All of the pens have been swatched out now, and I've been able to see the strength of the colour in each of them, where they're transparent on the black line and where they're really not, for example in the coffee here. It's worth just reminding you that these are not watercolour pens, they are a water-based ink, but they still have some movement in them. So where they faded into the water, the little water puddle that I made on the right hand side of each of these boxes, some of them give some beautiful effects, like the sunset yellow, the peach, the autumn rust. Some of them fade beautifully, and it's worth knowing which colours are going to behave in what way. As for how the paper has stood up, it stood up quite well. The Arteza Mixed Media Pads come in packs of 3, and that's really useful because it means that I can have my swatched page open beside another page in another book where I've drawn a little image, and I'm going to colour this in. I've deliberately drawn a really simple little image that's got lots of fine lines in it, so I can really test the brushes on these pens. The colours that I'm using are Dolphin Grey, Orange Rust, Palmer Grey, and Sunset Yellow and Green Tea. And I'm just going to close up on the image. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to put some music there so you can just sit back and watch how these pens perform. really easy to use. There's a nice amount of fluid in the brush. It doesn't overpower what you're trying to do, and you can get really fine thin lines in there, and the points are very good for getting lots of nice little detail, so they were great fun to use. I'm going to say thank you very much for your time as always. Thank you for watching. Please look at the links below the video. Check out Arteza's website for further inspiration, and if you use some of the links below the video you'll get an extra discount on your purchases as well. Until we meet again, stay safe and take care.